Welcome back YouTube. My name is Josh and in this tutorial we'll be going over how to set up your project with Firebase. So let's go ahead and begin. I already have my Firebase console pulled up and then let me show you real quick what the app is that we are going to be working with. So I have a very simple Chuck Norris app. It generates a random joke and then a random GIF with it. And every time you hit this random, you'll get a new joke with a new GIF. You can heart the GIF or the joke, I'm sorry, and then you can go in this little menu here, go into your favorites, and then you'll get a list of your favorites there. So that is very simple, basic, but you do realize one thing: we do not have a sign-in. So that's going to be my next implementation of this app. So to do that, I want to hook it up to Firebase. So let's go ahead and do that process. I already have Firebase also pulled up right here. I do not have the project yet, but I do have the console. So I'm not going to go step by step with installing the console because it's like it's like creating a new email. It's very straightforward. If you need help or links to that, comment in this video below and I will get you that information and walk you through it if you need. But once you get a console and you're signed in, you get to this page. Of course, I've got a lot of projects. You will have no projects if you just started this. So we're going to go ahead and create a new project, and this is what you need to know to link your app. So first off, we are going to go into the project. Then we're going to, what's your project name? We're going to do whatever we want. I'm going to name it Chuck Norris Jokes. Then we're going to go ahead and hit continue. We're going to keep this enabled Google Analytics for this project. We're not going to use it, however, but most apps will eventually. So I would just keep that checked, but you do not have to. It's not going to break anything. Select an account. You can create a new account. I'm going to use my default account for Firebase. Next. Then we're going to let this thing spin up. While we're waiting for this thing to spin up, shouldn't take too long. I'm going to explain this real quick. When you are linking Firebase or any third party, you typically have two ways. A lot of people are jumping on the Swift Package Manager instead of adding pods or having a pod file like you used to do. So I am not going to show you the pod way because there's a ton of videos out there. This one we're going to actually use this Firebase link and actually do a Swift Package Manager with Firebase. I'll walk you through that step. So let's go ahead and continue here. We're going to hit continue. Now we have this Chuck Norris, what is this? The overview page, if you will. And you have three options. You can go to Android, you can go to the web, or you can do iOS. We are Xcode developers working in iOS, and we are going to go ahead and click on that. And now you see we need this Apple Bundle ID. Okay, so how do you get that? If you're not familiar, we go into our project here, click on our actual project, then you want to go into general and you will see our bundle identifier. So you used to be able to copy here. You cannot do that any longer with the update. So you need to hit this arrow over. And what just happened? Oh, close down. So then if this is closed, it's going to look weird. So just open that little carrot top there and then you can copy this. And that is what we need to go back with here at our bundle ID. So let's go ahead and paste that guy there. We do not need to give it a nickname, but you can if you'd like. I'm not going to. And you do not need an Apple Store ID at this point. You can if you want. So we're going to go ahead and leave those empty and just do the bundle ID. Now we're going to hit register. Now this next part, we're going to get this config file. And this is very, very important that you follow this step. Whenever you hit next on this, look, it's given us this SDK too that I already have up here. So you're going to want to keep that too. But we're going to hit next, and we should have, let's see. Downloads, and it did not. So that's kind of weird that it did not download that. Oh, because I didn't hit download. Sorry, guys. So go ahead and hit this download up here. I'm going to leave that in too so you can see my mistake. I've done this probably 15 times and look, probably more than that, honestly. And look, I messed up. It's okay. So, but this is a very, very important part because you can see my P list down here. I'm going to go ahead and say show in Finder, and I'm going to actually pull this over so you can see This, it's not info, or you see info, but after that you see in your parentheses a 1. So we need this. So we're going to go ahead and open this up, drag this over here. We need this in our project file. So we're going to go ahead and put it at the very bottom. We're going to keep this copied, but this is the important part. You see now that we have that 1. That will not work in your project. It needs to say Google service -info.plist. This 1 is going to mess up the naming unless you go in the settings somewhere in your Xcode and change that, but we're not going to do that. So you're going to make sure that that does not say 1 or 2 or 3 or anything like that. It just says info.plist, and save that. I have a space there. Yeah, there we go. And save that like that. The reason why you get a 1, if you don't already know this, is pretty common sense. But if you download a plist from the same spot, or you download an image from the same spot, and then you go back to the same resource and download the same image again, you're going to get a duplicate. Well, you can't have 2 of the same names on your Mac. So it's going to add a 1 or add a 2. So it's a different name. So we need to make sure it is this name. Not stress that enough. A lot of newbies mess up on that and keep that there, and then their Firebase doesn't work correctly. Anyways, so we're going to go ahead next. It's going to tell us to go here. We've already gone here, and I'm going to go ahead and copy this. Again, this is for our Swift Package Manager, so we can use Firebase in our project. So I will link this in the description below so you can see that as well. Go back into our project. We are going to go ahead and go to File, Add Packages, go up here to Search. Now, if you've already used stuff in the past, you could search here and see stuff. Like I already have Firebase iOS there, but if you haven't, you won't be able to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and paste this site, and then you will see it over here. Select it, hit Add Package, and then you'll see all the packages that you get, or all the parts of Firebase, I should say. They're not really packages. That you may or may not need for your project. For instance, my project, I'm only going to use Firebase Auth and do a sign-in because I don't have a login page. But if you needed like Firebase Analytics, as you can see here, or if you needed a database that you're using with Firebase, then Firebase Storage, or real-time database. So anything depending on your project and what you're actually wanting, you would select. You go down the list and select that. I'm going to just do Auth. So let's go ahead and scroll down, find Firebase Auth. Then we're going to go ahead and add package, and that should do it for us. So we got Firebase Auth, and you can see there's a ton of other things in here. That's all we really want for this project. Select what you want, hit next, and then it'll be there. Okay, now we're going to go back to the next step. So let's go back into our console here. We've done this. We just added Firebase with Swift Package Manager. Now it's saying, hey, if it's Swift UI, which this is important too, and I'll cover this. This is a UI project that I have, but I'll cover this Swift UI so you can see. If I go back into my project, with the new updates, you'll see I have this app delegate and this scene delegate. And this app delegate is where I'm going to put my Firebase line of code at. With Swift UI and the later updates, you do no longer have this app or scene delegate. You actually need to go into your .app file and put it there. So let's go ahead and see what that looks like. They have this struct, which is your app, which you will have, and they say, hey, go ahead and make this part right here. So you make this your app delegate, and then create this function, did finish launching, and then go ahead and do your Firebase .configure. And then inside of this struct that is called, it's whatever your app is named, and then it's going to have type of app. You're going to need to put this line of code in there, and you can copy it directly here and just paste this right in there, right before this var body sum scene, which you'll see as well. So paste it right there, and then that will actually register the app for the Firebase setup, so then you can continue using that. For our case, in my project, it's going to be a UI project, and lucky for us, we already have the app delegate. We already have this function there, did finish launching with options, and all we need is this line of code here that says Firebase app.configure, which is the same line of code that you needed for the Swift UI project. except you need to add a little bit more code to make it work for your project. So now I copied that. Let's go ahead and go back into our project. And then we're going to our app delegate here. And again, we're looking for did finish launching with option, sorry, space out there. So there it is there. And then we can go ahead and keep this if you want. I know what this function does, and I'm going to go ahead and delete that. Paste in Firebase app.configure, but very fast we're going to see an error here. Hey, we cannot find Firebase in scope. And that's because it doesn't know what Firebase is. That's why we added that Swift Package Manager to this project. So we can now grab that. So we want to go ahead and go here, import, and I believe it's Firebase core. And Firebase, I think it's core. Maybe it's just Firebase. We're going to see in a minute. Yep, that'll work. But let me go just to make sure and I'm not telling you something incorrectly. Yes. So you can see right here, import Firebase core. So that's what you need. And then you're all set. Now your project is ready to go and can use that. So, and for me, I'm going to actually create a login screen on my next video and use Firebase to log in. So stay tuned for that as well. Guys, if you did get something out of this video and it was beneficial, give me a thumbs up and leave a comment to let me know what you thought. If you want to see my upcoming content, go ahead and hit that bell button. And if you have not yet, please subscribe to the channel as it helps me get my content out to others. Thanks so much. Have a great day, and I'll see you on the next one.